Good evening, everyone. I've been kind of missing in action. I've been trying to set up my YouTube and trying to get some monetized, because I mean I've got to do something because this is my job. and I got a Cash App actually set up, which is good, and I'm looking forward to that. So I mean it's going to be just nice to have something like that. I guess it comes in like a card form. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like over the emails and stuff like that, so it's gonna be kind of cool. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. So today I'm gonna read to you Division 3, the ceremonies of initiation. Now, I know there was a comment up in here, I think it might have been a guy, who was saying that I got this off WikiLeaks. I certainly did. I had another book that I was going to, a real one, like it's like one of the real books, right? Came from a woman who's had found it in her grandfather's attic, but it's not actually Sigma Chi. Well, it is, but so there. And this is another one I'll read. I'll be getting into as well. Is that Sigma Chi actually changed their name? So I figured I'd stick with this at the moment, then I'll go into the rest of it later down the road. But I wanted to just kind of get into like a few of these things. I wanted to get into like the council, like the head honchos, you know. That's what I wanted to do today. So, and I know they're all prim and proper, and they have to have their gowns just a certain way and all that. But I have some different gowns that I got for them, and so they'll be displaying those gowns tonight, I guess. A little bit later on in the story, or maybe throughout the story, because I'm going to record it first this way, and then I'm going to add the photos to it. So that'll be fun. You guys know I got something on my sleeve, don't ya? It's all good. I think them boys will be happy about it. Oh my goodness. Okay. Crack myself up sometimes. Not a lot, not all the time, but sometimes I do. Okay, the ceremonies of initiation. The ritualistic phase is a fitting climax to the indoctrination week and the well-planned pledge training program. Until 1947, each of these phases was treated separately, and no attempt was made to coordinate them. It is now recognized that no indoctrination week can be wholly successful unless it is preceded by a well-organized pledge training program. Well, we all know what that means, right? And I highly doubt it was just a week. By the same token, the beauties of the ritualistic, that word just gets me every time, ritualistic phase cannot be fully absorbed without outstanding work in both the pledge training program and the indoctrination week. No successful initiation was ever performed without careful planning and timely execution. That sentence right there, it just kind of scares me. That's all. It just does. Preparation for the ritualistic work should be made at the same time plans are drawn up for the indoctrination week. That is at least a month in advance. There you go, a month, not a week. Since the Magister has full responsibility for the planning and operation of the indoctrination week, and since this work will keep him quite busy, I'm gonna have to there's some names in here that were really hard. I had to look them up, you guys, to be able to pronounce them. Well, there's one of them actually that was just, I was like, what? And I might not even say it right here. So just forewarning. Starts with Q. Q. Okay. So I'm not supposed to be laughing through this. You just stop making me laugh. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Let's read that sentence again. No successful initiation was ever performed without careful planning and timely execution. Preparation for the ritualistic work should be at the same time plans are drawn up for the indoctrination week. That is at least a month in advance. Since the magister has full responsibility for the planning and operation of the indoctrined week, and since the work will keep him quite busy, the responsibility for the ritualistic work should fall upon the ritual committee in cooperation with the consul, the magister, operating in an advisory capacity. The entire ceremony pertaining to initiation into Sigma Chi are those included in the ritual and realistic statutes. No chapter, nor any member of any chapter shall at any time, in any way, add to the initiation ceremonies or devise other features than those provided in the ritual. The entire initiation shall be free from laughter, violence, or roughness of any character. Nor shall anything be said or done which may be physically injurious to the candidate or lowers his self-respect. Horseplay of any sort is positively prohibited. Those two words just don't feel right together. Positively prohibited. Those words that just don't, they just don't seem like they should go together, but it should be positively prohibited. Okay. I would have used absolutely prohibited, but that's just me. I'm not as old as these old fogies, right? Okay, I'll be good. Okay, where am I at? Where did I go? Let me find that positively prohibited. Oh, there we go. The snapping of fingers is a sign of approval or otherwise is not allowed during initiation. The practice of developing extraneous features and extending them throughout a week or more preceding the proper initiatory period is detrimental alike to the best interest of the college, the fraternities, their chapters, and the individual members, and is strictly prohibited. Let's read that again. I kind of messed that one up. The practice of developing extraneous features and extending them throughout a week or more preceding the proper initiatory period is detrimental alike to the best interest of the college, the fraternities, their chapters, and the individual members, and is strictly prohibited. So right here, I'm just going to say, liar, liar. This is making me cringe. And I'm not saying that all of them are like this, because there's got to be some out there that follow the rules. I mean, there's got to be, right? Right? Oh, please humor me, say there is. But with that said, we've all seen it, right? I mean, I brought a lot of this to you guys, and it's awful. And for them to actually, they're actually mocking it is how I feel that they're doing in this. They're mocking it. They're like, it's actually kind of making me sick. I've not read this. Like, I haven't not gone through this and read this. It's the first time I'm going through and reading it with you guys. So that's why some of the words I'm going to stumble on, because it's just not your typical read, Anyway, so I apologize for that in advance. Okay. Any infraction of the preceding requirements shall render the offending chapter or any member of any chapter liable to discipline under the provisions of the Constitution of Statutes of the fraternity. This means you will be scolded, young man, if you horse around, if you laugh, if you do anything to hurt their feelings, these boys, while you are in, what week is this? This is initiation week, right? Yes, the ritual statute. You shall be A young man who does not put your hands on any other young man, you shall bring him drink and food and laugh and have a great time. You will not do anything that's going to make him feel bad. This is such a lie, you guys. I feel like stupid just even saying that, because that is how this sounds. What the heck's going on? That's just weird. I mean, and look at how they put it in here. It's like, you know, dark. It's like italic. You know, it's like italic. It's like, what's going on? It's like they're pushing the agenda, right? This is, you know, this is, read this. This is exactly what it's like. Well, no, you can't. Come on. How do these frats keep a straight face when they're actually reading this? Those little turds. How do those little turds keep a straight face? I don't know how they do it. I don't know. I don't know. So, any infraction of the preceding requirements shall render the offending chapter or any member of the chapter liable to discipline under the provisions of the Constitution and statutes of the fraternity. The executive secretary shall preserve official signs of realistic paraphernalia and regalia. The regalia shall not be worn at any time other... Whoa, where'd you go? No snapping fingers. And in their time than during the ceremonies of initiation. The grand praetors shall see to it that the chapters under their supervision maintain strict conformity to official designs in order there be uniformity among all chapters. Certain ceremonies require the officers to wear robes designating their office. Their robes are as follows. The consul, which is the president, shall wear a white tunic and a blue and gold toga with a design of the badge on the left breast. The proconsul, that's vice president, shall wear a white tunic with blue and gold toga with an eagle's head embroidered in gold on the left breast. The magister, I think that's the one that deals with the money, right? Shall wear a white tunic and a red and white toga. No, that's the one that takes all the, writes everything down, I think. Shall wear a white tunic with a red and white toga with 7 gold stars embroidered on the left breast. The janitor, that is the vice president to the vice president, shall wear a white tunic and a blue and gold toga with a gold scroll embroidered upon the left breast. Constantine, mind you, I have not found anything to where I could find who would be Constantine and who would be wearing this purple tunic and gold and purple toga. I have not found where it names one single person. Constantine. Remember that chant that I put up? Oh, I'll have to add some of that to this. Constantine. So Constantine was way back in it was like in the army, like some way back. And he conquered something. That's where they got like kind of a little bits, a piece of that one. It was like a history type thing. But I was so busy doing all the other stuff today, I kind of lost a lot of it. But anyway, it had the whether it was a shield or whatever it was on the front, looked like the Sigma Chi symbol, and their robes, and then the name. They thought the name was really strong, so that's where that came from. So he is a warrior. That's what he is. The foregoing officers shall also wear brass or gold, yellow braided headbands. Shit, I'm not supposed to laugh. All other brothers shall wear black robes. You hear me, boy? Don that black robe. Cover thy head. Keep those eyes down. Do not look at me. Hands in front of you, clasped together, flat against your body. You shall walk when I say you shall walk. You shall talk when you are spoken to and require an answer. Each initiate shall be dressed in a white robe when called for in the ritual. Each chapter shall properly maintain a supply of the above described regalia. Chapters within a few miles of each other may choose to share regalia, each contributing to the supply. So it is a big old brotherhood is what I'm seeing in here. The minimum supply of member robes shall be 25. The ideal situation is to have a supply of member robes sufficient for the entire chapter. The minimum supply of candidate robes shall be an amount equal to that needed for the largest pledge class. Why would they all need black robes all at one time? What kind of meeting is that? I haven't gotten to that part yet. The minimum supply of paraphernalia shall include all items required in the ritual and ritualistic statutes. Under no circumstances shall the regalia be worn in public or at any other time other than the ceremonies of initiation or an authorized exemplification or rehearsal thereof. Assignment of duties. Ritual Committee Chairman, Assistant Magister. Extend written invitation to alumni to attend initiation, giving definite time schedule for the various ceremonies. Special invitations shall be given to fathers or brothers of the new initiates. It is traditional to ask them to badge these men. Ritualistic statutes. 2. Carefully select alumni to conduct the pledge interview, inviting them at least 3 weeks prior to the date of interview. Wow, you guys. Wow. Okay. 3. Have pledges' personal files completed and available for alumni interviewers. 4. Check quest routes before every initiation to make certain the place of search is quiet and secluded. Sometimes street names are changed, trees are cut down, or fences torn out, thereby making instructions inadequate. 5. Assign and supervise the setup of the following: the Black Supper, the interview rooms, cleansing room, the chapter room or designated place for the investiture. 6. Arrange for recommended magical, isn't it? It's magical. Boy, I got some really Freudian slips in here, don't I? Lately. Arrange for recommended musical background or lighting used in some ceremonies. Make arrangements for initiation banquet with steward and social chairman, and extend invitations to alumni and special guests. Brief the chapter thoroughly on complete schedule of events well in advance of the initiation. 9. Be responsible for upkeep and replacement of all paraphernalia. 9A. A special ritualistic storeroom should be available for the proper care of equipment. Caution: do not store paraphernalia in a damp area. 9b. All robes should be dry cleaned and pressed periodically, preferably immediately after each initiation. This can be done by taking them to a dry cleaner away from the campus where other students are not likely to be working, and using a brother's name rather than the fraternity name. When not in use, they should be placed on hangers. If this is not done, it becomes necessary to have the robes pressed for each initiation. Ritualistic items which become worn and damaged shall be systematically replaced. For the purpose, the chapter shall establish a depreciation fund in the budget. In those years when few expenditures are made, the surplus shall be carried over to the next year. For this method, when it becomes necessary, by this method, when it becomes necessary for the chapter to make costly replacements of paraphernalia, money will be in a reserve to cover the expenses. 9d. List all needed items and assign someone to procure them. New candles should be used for each initiation. Make certain that the proconsul is supplied with a taper holder and tapers. The brass candelabrum should always be brightly polished. B. A man with experience in dramatics and public speaking who has made a thorough study of the ritual. That's a ritualist, they call that one. B1. Select and assign parts to various brothers who will participate in the ritualistic work. The practice by some chapters of having one of the brothers memorize one of the assignable parts and deliver that part at several initiations or until his graduation is commended. So he would be inducing this stuff for 4 years or more or less, I guess. B2. Set a definite schedule for and direct rehearsals. Consult frequently with consul and magister on matters of technique and timing. Technique and timing. Timing, it's all about the timing. Selection of a sufficient number of active members to be present during the quest, interview, and cleansing is important. These brothers will be needing. These brothers will okay, I digress. Okay, I'm sorry. These brothers will be needed to help the magister or assistant magister to maintain a record of each initiate's attendance to the individual ceremonies. It is recommended that the chapter conduct 2 full rehearsals of each of the ceremonies prior to each initiation. At least the final rehearsals of the investor should be in a full dress rehearsal conducted in the room in which it is to be held. To deliver the printed word aloud requires constant practice to be familiar with the thoughts expressed so well in our ritual. Each part demands understanding, dignity, and depth of feeling. The speaker must be inspired by these words and convey that inspiration to the candidates. That is interpretive ability, the ability to transfer the full thought and emotional contents of the writing and make it live. Make it live, baby. Make it live, live, whatever you want to do. Praise the Lord. The brother rendering each part is representing Sigma Chi in that role. The qualities the candidates hear in his voice are attributed to the fraternity. So you don't want Pee Wee Herman in there. In all rites in all parts of the ritual, with the exception of the obligation, which must be read for absolute accuracy. Memorization is essential to an exemplary performance. Exemplary, yes. Exemplary. Blah, blah, blah. You cannot talk today. Yeah, we'll just leave that as it is. So this goes on down here. Let's get some more in here. Ritualistic statutes, the time schedule. The planning and adhering to a definite schedule for the ritualistic work is of the utmost importance, not only from the standpoint of the effect on the candidate, but also for the morale of the entire chapter. Nobody likes to sit around and wait for hours for the next ceremony to begin, and this applies particularly to the alumni. You hear me, boy? Head down. Effect on candidate. A poorly executed time schedule can have a most disastrous effect on the candidate. Boy, doesn't it, though. The entire psychology of the initiation is based on a chain of events. Can you guys hear my heart beating in my ear? That's weird. The Black Supper has a direct influence on the thinking processes of the candidate during the quest. These thinking processes are probed deeply in the interview, which in turn provides a background for the undertaking of the cleansing and the investiture. The investiture ties all the preceding events together into a superb climax. Gross. Therefore, if this chain of events is interrupted by an undue interval of time, the chances are great that the thought processes induced in the candidates will also be interrupted. The result will be that the desirable psychological effect, let's read that again. The results will be that the desirable psychological effect created by the preceding ceremonies or events will be greatly reduced or lost entirely. This cannot be overemphasized. Recommended procedure. 10 p.m. or 4 a.m. 10 p.m. or 4 a.m. Mind you, did I just hear you? 10 p.m. or 4 a.m. The Black Supper. Dawn. The quest. 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Candidates are cleaned up, properly attired, and given a light breakfast. Cleaned up, huh? 8 to 10. The interview, followed by period for reflection. (9 a.m. to 11 a.m.) the cleansing. 11 a.m. the investiture. Afternoon or evening, initiation banquet. I wonder if there was an initiation banquet on the 13th. I'm just very curious. I'm going to leave this here for a little bit so you guys can actually see this. My heart is pounding. My mouth just got really dry. Wow. This sounds like a November 13th day. Wow. Advantages of procedure. Long experience has indicated that the above procedure is most adventurous. And I'll say it causes no great fatigue or loss of sleep on the part of the pledges, actives, or the alumni. It is thus easier to obtain more enthusiastic alumni participation. Dawn is not only the most inspiring time for the quest, but also it is time of the day when the pledge is least likely to encounter other people during his search. I'm going to read that one again. Advantages of procedure. Long experience has indicated that the above procedure is most advantageous. I got that word wrong the first time. Advantageous. That's the reason I wanted to read it again, huh? It causes no great fatigue or loss of sleep on the part of the pledges, actives, or alumni. It is thus easier to obtain more enthusiastic alumni participation. Dawn is not only the most inspiring time for the quest, but also is the time of day when the pledge is least likely to encounter other people during his search. What time was that quest? Right about dawn? After the Black Supper at 4 a.m., between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m.? Ritualistic statutes. Proper arrangement for the Black Supper. The candidates will be sitting at the table on the far back wall. Members, console in the middle. Members on either side in order of privilege, or I guess. Purpose. The Black Supper in the fraternity is a serious and solemn ceremony used as a preliminary introduction to the formal initiation. The primary purpose of this ceremony is to impress candidates with the seriousness of our teachings. It is a lesson in personal responsibility. The ceremony sets the scene for the quest and gives the candidate the encouragement for the chapter for the symbolic mission he will undertake. Properties. Table. 2. Chair for each candidate. 3. 2 or 3 candles for table. 4. Goblets and saucers. 5. Black cloth. 6. Bread and water. 7. Black robes for members. Preparation. Ideally, this ceremony should be conducted in a room large enough to accommodate the entire chapter standing at one end as a group, and the candidates seated at a long table at the other end. The members are to be dressed in black robes with hoods drawn over their heads. They should stand as a body, facing the candidates with arms folded, maintaining absolute silence throughout the ceremony. This is the first time the candidates shall see the members in ritualistic robes. That's got to be scary. Conducting the ceremony in a place other than the chapter house is permissible, provided that secrecy is maintained and that the place chosen is large enough to accommodate the entire class of initiates seated at one time, as well as the members of the active chapter standing. The consul, clad also in black robe, with his head bared, will stand alone approximately 3 paces in front of the chapter and deliver the Black Supper address from memory. The table is covered. I hope this ear thing's kind of going back and forth. With the earbud is kind of being weird. So when I'm talking, I guess I'm getting into it. Getting into it. Let's see. The consul, clad also in black robe, with his head bared, will stand alone approximately 3 paces in front of the chapter and deliver the Black Supper address from memory. The table is covered with a black cloth, and for further effect, the walls of the room may also be draped in black cloth. 2 or 3 candles placed on the table provide the only light in the room. Before each candidate is a small glass or goblet of water and a small piece of bread cut in the shape of a square. The bread is placed on a small plate. The practice of certain chapters is providing special ware for the ceremony is commended. Caution: wine or grape juice is not to be used because of the danger of offending the religious sensibilities of certain pledges. Boy howdy. Appropriate recorded music may be played very softly throughout the ceremony. If music is not used, absolute silence must prevail. Note: the fraternity's recommended ritual music tape or compact disc contains an appropriate selection for this ceremony. Constantine. Performance. The candidates are blindfolded and conducted into a room by guides, and each placed behind his seat at the table. No candidate shall have his back to the speaker and chapter. The table may be extended into a U shape in the case of a large class. This being the first part of the initiation, the consul should strive to prepare the candidates for the seriousness of this ceremony and of those to follow. The consul must study carefully the purpose of the Black Supper in order to deliver it with understanding and meaning. Further, the speaker must realize the candidates are experiencing something new to their fraternity experience, both in text and in procedure. The consul may speak slowly, deliberately, and with feeling, making sure his pauses are ample where indicated. The speaker must give the candidates time to think about this new experience and what it is all about. An understanding delivery and tone of voice will center their minds on the message of the dissertation and give meaning to it. Division 3, the ceremonies of initiation. The Black Supper. If desired, the Black Supper may be delivered by the magister. Consul. My friends, be seated. Remove your blindfolds and place them on the table before you. There must be absolute quiet. Eat. Candidates partake of bread. Drink. Candidates all drink. Consul. My friends, we meet with quiet solemnity to honor one of our founders, Franklin Howard Scobie, who said, "A man is responsible to God, to his friends, and to his own best judgment for the way he makes up his mind." Jesus was the founder and leader of a brotherhood. He chose different types of men from the common walks of life and pledged them to a lifelong devotion to his cause. He met them in secret places. Together they shared certain spiritual truths and practiced noble virtues. In solemn secrecy, Jesus revealed the deepest purposes of his heart. He outlined a philosophy for a good life, and announced the ideals for a better society. Secret signs, symbols, and solemn ritual characterized their brotherhood. Our being here is symbolic of the last meeting Jesus had with his disciples. He had been their leader and guide. He had been their personal friend and counselor. He had been responsible for their motives and their actions. At this last meeting, he told them that he could no longer be their leader, guide, friend, and counselor in visible form. He laid upon them the responsibility for carrying on the work of his cause. From this time forward, they would make up their own decisions. By their initiative and on their personal responsibility, they would be accountable for their own character and conduct. In like manner, the chapter of the Sigma Chi fraternity has selected you, trained you, guided you, and assumed your responsibilities as their own. As Jesus left his disciples in their strength of character and trusted them with the ideals of his brotherhood, so does this chapter now leave you to your own strength of character and trust you with our ideals. From this time forward, you are responsible to God, to your friends, and to your own best judgment for the way you make up your own mind, the way you think, speak, and act. Let me remind you that the white cross we wear comes to us from the Christ whose name and ideals of brotherhood find solemn and reverent use of in our symbols, ceremonies, and teachings. We now put our trust in you, believing that the white cross will remain unsoiled and that our ideals will be reflected in your daily life. From now on, you are solely on your own. You will be put to tasks of grave importance. Let me rephrase that. You will be put to tasks of grave importance. Let's make that plural. You will be put to tasks of grave's importance. Your success depends upon your own steadfastness and high purposes. It is our hope that you will be found worthy. We all wish you success. Blindfolds are replaced. Consul. You will arise. The candidates are quietly ushered to their rooms, and the chapter proceeds with the ritual as prescribed. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts on this one, because I know what mine are. And if I thought there was guilt before, it's tenfold now. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. But you just can't make this stuff up. I'm glad I'm getting this out of the way fairly early, because I don't know how... I mean, I'm super warm right now. Like, my body's just really super warm. And my mouth is dry, my heart's racing. I mean, I'm a little sick to my stomach. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that people treat people the way my research has taken me. I mean, it's like, granted, there's some good ones out there, but you don't. It's like you get that one that just takes the toll, and it just stains the whole thought of Greek row and fraternities and sororities. You know, it makes it dark and evil, reckless, inhumane, narcissistic, criminal, sad. Sad that as a human, that you could even conduct this type of thing onto another person. I mean, you just don't get it. And I never will. That's why, that's why my heart's racing. That's why I'm warm. That's why I'm a little sick to my stomach and my mouth is dry. Because I will never get this. And the worst of it, is that this is generation to generation to generation to generation with secrets upon secrets upon secrets. You don't think that what those boys did that night, what they did not know they were meant to do, there was something. This was a what they're saying right here, just exactly what this is. What I just read you. This was a quest. This was a mission. And you know what? They put them somewhere. They did not know where they were going. But they sure did run fast away from it, didn't they? I'd be curious if those boys made it into the fraternity. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into. No, they didn't. Why was that sophomore? We all know his name. Why was he running after these freshmen? Because he is what they call the, let's see, where is that name of that? Well, he's one of the council, put it that way, one of the chapter members. He's got a job to do. And that is risk management. That's what it is. Risk management. They have those, right? It's a job they're to do. They're to keep them there intact, not let them like run away scared, maybe go tell somebody. Nope, they are to keep their mouths shut. They are to keep things under wraps at all costs. So basically they're the enforcer, if you think about it that way, which I do. So I'm going to stop this now, but I'm going to show you some photos of 2022's Sigma Chi chapter members, the big guys, the big wigs. In fact, one of them got he got an award, or he got $10,000 for keeping his mouth shut, keeping their mouths shut, for pulling out the goon tape, slapping it on. No goon too soon. That's a hell of a reward. That's a hell of a gift for doing something like that, don't you think? You know why they had a camera outside that house? Why they had film outside that house, in my opinion? It's because that film goes somewhere and is kept under lock and key in a file cabinet, inside of a wall, under floorboards, in an attic. And only probably maybe 2 people know where it's at. And I believe one of them would be, let's say, the head of the university. Because that film right there bonds you to your brotherhood. Because now they've got something on you. Just like all the rest of them. All have something in that file cabinet. In that wall. Under that floorboard or in that attic. Maybe even in a tunnel. You never know. They all have something hanging over their heads. You talk. We pull out the good stuff. You want to know why those guys in the film club couldn't say anything about that film? Because they're under oath. They're sworn to secrecy and silence. Maybe that was their quest. They said that was turned into the Idaho State Police. I highly doubt that. I bet that was just walked down Linda Lane and possibly put into a dumpster for collection later. Quite possibly. Only to be collected and held close. Is that why? Is that why those dumpsters and those bins weren't picked up and the garbage wasn't collected in down those areas? It's because that's part of the quest, and it's just a known procedure that they do. It's a step. This has too many connects. Way too many connects to not be something not what it is they're trying to tell us it is. Because on their side, they've got way too many lies, changing of stories, throwing people under the bus. People are taking, and you know what? You know why? Because they too took a pledge. They took an oath of silence. That's what they did. Because the sororities have it too. Is that about the craziest thing you have ever heard? I think, it's scared. It seriously just makes me just, like, I feel like I'm rushing right now. Like I just popped about 3 cayenne pepper capsules. Can you imagine how scared those guys are upon doing these ritualistic things? Can you imagine how scared the Black Supper is going into thinking about the Black Supper? You think about those guys who, how hazing was so bad, belittled them so much, tore them down, beat them up, deprived them of sleep and nourishment to their bodies, and their brains, their minds, their soul, everything. Happy, happy people. Some of them 2 months upon getting to college, some of them 5 months, some of them in between. Took their lives at their own hands. Took their lives but wrote letters about it, about how they couldn't take it anymore. It was just getting to be too much. Some of them told some of their friends, even though they were not supposed to. In my opinion, they are breeding killers out there. And making them believe it's okay because it's a brotherhood? Am I getting this? Please tell me I'm getting this wrong. Some of these people didn't die. Some of them are in wheelchairs, can't do anything, can't walk, can't talk, can't go to the bathroom on their own. 19 years old. And going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Because of these hazings. Because you got to break them down to build them back up. You got to break them down to get them to trust you. You got to take everything they got away from them. So that you're the only one there that they can help, that can help them. Well, what if you are not there? What if you're out partying, waiting back at the frat, in a nice warm frat house, with a keg, beer bongs, and some chicks, and a younger guy doesn't even know that town, maybe 2 or 3 even, don't know where they're at, so full of alcohol, they now have alcohol poisoning. Some of them don't even know if these kids even have, like, you know, underlying health problems or something that they can't do this kind of thing. Some of these guys probably never even had alcohol before. And they're putting a beer bong. Do you guys realize what a beer bong is? It is like getting one of those, getting a noodle from the dollar store, make it a little one so it gets down your mouth, down your throat, and then putting a funnel inside of it, and then pouring the alcohol in it, and it opens your throat, and it just goes down into your stomach. Directly down in there. They don't feed them, so their caloric valve is wide open. That is never a good thing when you're going out drinking. Never. And then on top of that, they feed them carbonation, which is also going to keep that caloric valve open and get you even drunker. Quicker and longer. You've got these kids that come there. Maybe they're from there, maybe they're not. Put in these circumstances like this because they want to be part of something, because it makes it sound so good. This is incredibly, incredibly immoral. And it makes me really freaking sad that this is allowed to happen. I'm not even done reading this book. How many pages are in here? 136, you guys. I've read maybe 20 pages. Maybe not even that much. 136. What more is in this book? Do we even want to know? I'll let you guys vote on that one. Okay, I just snapped my waistband. How about that? I don't know if I've ever... That just made me feel really old. All right, I gotta laugh, otherwise I'm gonna cry. All right, well, bring on the laughs, because I got some good stuff for you guys. Not really laughs, but, well, kind of, in a way. Okay, I'm gonna get this set up, and I will, hopefully it'll load up pretty quick. The problem I've had lately is they're not loading my videos. Like, I'll have to go back in, take the title out, take anything I've put in there out of there, which takes me another, because it rids it all. You have to go back and do it all over again. And since I usually put, to try to links and all that kind of stuff in there, but it's not even taking them. Like, it just says data, no data, or whatever, failed data or something like that. Sometimes it just spins and won't do anything. So I thought, delete it, wait for it, put it back on. And sometimes I'll go, and I didn't realize does it first, but every time I do that, it saves it in my photo album. And so I went in there last night, I'm thinking, why is it so full? And I was like, whoa, I must have had, I can't tell you how many duplicate, triple videos I had in there because of doing that. I didn't realize it saved them. I'm like, why is there like 15 of these? No. Anyway, okay. Well, on that note, you guys have a great evening. Well, I'll see you a little bit later. I'm going to make some comments on the new stuff I'm going to add. So, all right. You guys take care. I appreciate all of you. Hope you have a good evening. Talk to your children. Let them know. They can't all be bad, but they're definitely not all good. That's for damn sure. There, snap us out of here. Bye. Thanks for listening and watching.